Just got this 2003 Suzuki RM125 on trade. So the trade-in was probably worth around $1,400. So technically I got this bike for $1,400. So I guess the bike runs and drives, but it's extremely boggy. The guy said he went through everything. He could not figure it out. So that's why he's trading it. But as you can see, very, very clean bike. Brand new tires on it. Brand new pipe on it. Looks like brand new plastics on there. New seat cover, grips, pro taper bars. Engine looks really, really clean. No cracks in the case at all, as far as I could see. New hoses on the carb. Everything looks really nice. I guess the other problem with this bike is the rear brake does not want to bleed. So he included a seal kit for the rear brake as well. But it's a pretty clean bike. So today we're going to try to solve the bogging issue. The seller started it up and it sounds pretty bad. I don't hear any knocking or anything, but it is extremely boggy. So let's get this thing off the truck, start digging into it, and see if we can fix this bike. This bike, if we can get it fixed, is probably worth $2,500 to $3,000. Alright, let's get a little walk around. Sharp looking bike. There's a keyhing carb on there. Chain and sprockets look decent. Check out the bottom of the engine. Appears to be good. I don't really see any leaking. See if there's coolant in it. Yep. Coolant's topped off in there. How much gas do we have? Pretty much empty in there. We'll see if she fires up here. But yeah, listen to the ball. So if it's going to be white smoke, that's typically coolant burning off, and you'll be able to tell because it will be like a sweet smell. If it's blue smoke, that's typically the two-stroke oil burning off. And typically if crankcase oil is burning off, I guess really the only reason would be that the seal, the crank seal, would be going on the right hand side. So let's see what happens. We'll start this thing up, and you guys listen for the bog. Definitely hear it. Definitely sounds boggy. Quite a bit of smoke coming out of here. I don't smell crankcase oil. Might be coolant. Hard to tell. It's pretty blue though. I'm not smelling any crankcase oil burning off. Hard to tell if it's coolant. Doesn't look like white smoke, looks like blue smoke to me. So it might just be running rich. You can definitely hear it's boggy. I'm gonna take it for a quick ride just to see what it sounds like. All right, we got the bike in the garage. Let's start taking a look at it. Right away, we're checking for leaking from the carb, seeing if it's overflowing. Doesn't look like it. It's not leaking anything from the carb. You can see there's the overflow. Not a single drop coming out of there. So that's good. Let's check and see if there's oil in it. All right, somebody had stripped this thing out before. Now it's really hard to get off. All right, let's see what that oil looks like. Please don't be milky. Oh yeah, looks really clear. So I think the water pump seals are holding up pretty good. Yeah, you've got the Honda oil in there, it looks like red oil. So that looks great. We can leave the oil like that. We're just gonna check and see if there's a check bolt right down here. Let's see. Perfect. See that oil coming out? Alright, so this is filled up perfectly. Alright, let's see if there's an air filter in here. Alright, looks like there's an air filter in here. It's all oiled up, looking good. So at least no dirt or sand or anything was getting in to the engine. From the intake at least. Let's see if that boot was on there. It looks like the clamp was missing from there though. Get this gas line though. Great gas flow. I just put fresh fuel in, so there shouldn't be any water in it. Alright, so gas flow looks perfect. Alright, looks like we've got new coolant lines, work, studio. Radiator's not leaking at all. Kind of plug is on here? NGK plug. BR9ES. So, correct plug for it. I do have the engine mount right here as well. We have to put on. Alright. Not seeing any major leaks or anything from the head. Looking all around the head here. Looks like a little sealant was used on the head. Looks like some gasket maker. So maybe the head was leaking at one point. But I don't see any leaks right now at all. Yep, no coolant leaks at all. Oh, that looks really good. So let's get that plug out and we'll see what that looks like. All right, let's see if this plug is really wet. It might be running really rich. Oh yeah. Oh, the spark plug's nice and brown though. But that plug is wet. Look it. So it's definitely running rich. We're getting too much fuel. Plug looks pretty good though. I like that color. Alright, let me just kick it over a couple times, see if anything comes out. I'm looking for coolant coming out of the head here. Yeah, there's nothing coming out. You put a little pressure on it with your thumb. I'm trying to get coolant to spurt out of there. But yeah, I think it was just gas on the plug. Let's see what that spark looks like. Sometimes too, when these bikes get hot, it can run really crappy, and that can be the coil. See if we've got any spark here. Oh yeah, good spark. Nice blue spark. Let's check that plug. All right, we've got the spark plug tester out here. Let's see what that spark looks like on the plug. Because it definitely could be fouled. Keep on going up in the RPM here. See if we lose spark at all. We're at 5,000 RPM. 7,000. Nice blue spark. There's 9,000. Let that run for a little bit. Yeah, pretty consistent blue spark. That looks good. So I don't think it was a fouled plug at all. Alright, compression tester going in. For a 125, I like to see at least 150. 160 is like a fresh rebuild range. We should be pretty good. But I've seen bikes go as high as 200 on a 125. So, it could be higher. Alright, throttle open. Alright, what do we got? It's not horrible. 140. So it's definitely not fresh, but 140 is not horrible. Right when you get to like 125, 130, that's when you want to do a top end rebuild. So it should be fine with 140. All right, a quick way to check for a blown head gasket is to see if there are any major bubbles when you kick this thing over and start it coming up through the radiator. Because if there is a leak in the head, it will pressurize these lines and blow coolant out of here, or bubble really bad. So let's just start this thing up. That's definitely not a blown head gasket. You've got coolant coming up and filling these up, so you're going to see a little movement in there. But if it was a blown head gasket, this would be blowing out of here. There'd be so much pressure in there from the compression of the engine. So I don't think it's a blown head gasket. All right, next step is getting this carb out, checking the settings on here. So, a couple things to look for is float height. Make sure it's not getting too much fuel coming out of here. And then we can check needle clip position, pilot and main jet size. See what those are at. And we'll see if that choke is working too. Stuck on. There we go. Alright, slide is in the correct way. I think it can only go in one way. Let's take that out. You can see some gas right there. Pulling. Alright. Let's just check this needle clip position first, see what that's at. Oh, that spring is stuck in there. That spring is... Yep, clip is right in the middle. So that's stock setting there. Right in the middle. So we're gonna leave it like that. And we can adjust once we test drive this thing. But I just wanted to see if it was really rich or really lean, and it looks like it's right in the middle. So that looks good. Alright, let's take a look at the carb here. Updated Allen bolts. Looks like there is some gas in here. And we'll have to jet this thing to the pipe as well, if it's not already. Yeah, looks spotless in there. So I'm guessing the previous owner really cleaned this thing out. Float height looks perfect. So that line right there should be perfectly parallel to the surface right here when you hold it at a 45-degree angle. Get our float out. Needle looks good. Tip is nice and rubbery. Inspect the seat, make sure that looks good. Looking for any nicks or any damage to the seat here. That could allow fuel to flow through. No, seat looks really good. Alright, so main jet is a 145. That's what they're running for the main jet. We'll see what the pilot looks like too. Oh, see if that's clear. Yep, main jet is clear. Check out that pilot. Alright, looks like a pretty new pilot. 32 pilot. And that is partially clogged. Partially clogged. I can see through it a little bit, but we'll clean that up. Here is the air screw. Let's get that out. So we're 1.5 turns out on the air screw. A little spring in there. Perfect. Looks like that's stripped out pretty good too. Yeah, that looks good. So let's look up and see what our stock jets are supposed to be. Alright, so we ran into a bit of a problem. So the original carburetor on the 2003 Suzuki RM125s is a Mikuni carb. So we have a Keihin carb here. On the Mikuni carb, the original stock carb, the main jet should be a, let's see here, a 460, and the pilot should be a 27.5. Needle clip position should be in the middle, and the air screw 1.5 turns out. So right now we are running a 145 main and a 32 pilot. So I have no way of knowing which jets are supposed to be in there. So that could definitely be the problem right there with the bogging. So what we're gonna do is try to look up on the forums and see what most people are using. We might leave it just the way it is, blow that out, put a new spark plug in, and then kind of ride this bike and base the jetting off of the spark plug color and how it runs, obviously. Because there's really no way of knowing. 145 seems a little lean to me, but we'll start there and see what the heck happens. Right now it's bogging pretty bad, so I can't see us going much lower than a 145, but maybe we're lean. We are going to take the jet kit with us, both the pilot and the main jet kit, and we're going to play around with the jetting and see if we can get this thing to run properly. But we'll clean out this carb. The pilot was clogged a little bit, and maybe some of these passageways were clogged. So we'll blow that out, get everything cleaned up, put it back in the bike, and go take this thing for a test drive and see how it runs. Because right now, I'm feeling like it's a little lean, but we'll see. It's running like it's rich. Alright, made it up to the land. We're going to put a brand new spark plug in and see what that plug looks like after running it for a bit. I don't know how long that plug's been in there, so it's hard to tell if it was in there before it was rejetted or if it was in there before the carburetor was put on. You know, you don't know. So let's put a new plug in and start from there. But from here, we're on the right side of the bike. See if I can get some pliers in there to get that off. New plug going in. Again, BR9 ES plug. So same exact plug going in. Keep the old one just in case. Alright. this one in. All right, we're good to go. Well, I was not expecting that. This thing doesn't even bog. What the heck? It's fixed. I don't know what the heck happened. Maybe it was the new plug or the carb clean, but it doesn't bog at all. What is going on? You can see it's really leaking though. So it's burning some oil here. There's some sludge there out of the pipe, but that might be from before, you know? I don't know, but it's running great. It doesn't bog the slightest. If anything, it's lean. I don't know what is going on. That is so weird. So I think it's fixed. We're gonna check the plug color because it does sound a little lean. So we're gonna check the plug, see what color it is, and kind of go from there. I might jet it a little bit richer. Right now, a 145 seems pretty low on the main jet, but I don't know, it's running really good. I don't know what the heck happened, but it's fixed. No bog whatsoever. Has a ton of power. Really fast. We have to fix the rear brake though. It was tough stopping just with the front brake. I don't know if we rode it enough to change the color of the plug yet, but let's just check it. See what that color is. I might just up the main jet to a 155 just to be sure. Let's see. Oh, it's turning brown. You can see it's starting to turn brown. So I'm gonna make it a little bit richer, and we'll see how it runs with a 155 in there. I'd feel better running a 155, but if it breaks up and bogs, we'll put it back to a 145. Get our gas line off of here. Just change the main jet so we can back this carb up like this. I should be able to at least. Now we've got access to the float bowl plug here. Gas is going to go everywhere, fortunately. Alright, we've got the 145. Let's go find a 155. Alright, we've got a 155 here. Let's install that. See if it still runs okay. So going from the 145 main to the 155, now it sounds really, really good. So there's no pinging on deceleration, because normally when it's lean, it'll kind of ping, almost like it's running out of fuel. It's not doing that anymore. It's really crisp through every gear. And yeah, it's running great. So let's check the plug again, make sure that's turning brown. We might have to ride it around a little bit more just to get a really good reading, but I think we're really close. Let's see what we're at here. Oh yeah, that is looking really good. You can see it's turning really nice and brown now. Look at that. That's what we like to see. Yeah, that's almost perfect. So we could probably ride this around a little bit more and check it again, but it's turning pretty brown. I like that. So I think we're gonna leave it there for now, but I like the way it sounds at 155, and I like that that plug is turning nice and brown. That is a good sign. You don't want to go too rich. Alright, let's check the plug now. See what that's at. We rode it for probably 30 minutes here. That's getting pretty brown. I might go a tad richer. Like 160, I think it's gonna be perfect. But that's pretty decent. It's starting to look really good. So, all right, we're gonna put 165 in. I just want to see how it runs with the 165, because I really don't want to be too lean. The plug color looks pretty decent, but it could be a little bit browner. So we'll try 165. And if it's too boggy, we'll go to a 160. Alright, here's a 165, you can see. absolutely zero issues with the 165 in there, so we're gonna leave that. And it could probably be 160, 165, and it would be fine. Let's check the plug. You guys can see it's really turning nice and chocolatey brown. See that? Getting nice and brown. Let me zoom in. See how it's getting nice and brown on that side? That's what we like to see. So we're gonna leave it at 165 and call it good. But the bog is completely gone. Absolutely no issues with the bike other than the rear brake now. So let's go fix that. All right, got back home. This thing's running great. The only problem was the rear brake is not working. So the guy said he tried to bleed it and it wouldn't bleed. He said this was a new master cylinder. Looks like it's leaking out of there though. So it could just be the master cylinder's bad. But we'll try bleeding it, see what happens, and then if it doesn't bleed, he gave us a rebuild kit for the caliper here. All right, so first thing we're gonna do is open up the bleeder screw here. Looks like some fluid's in there. Let's see if it's pumping. Oh yeah, it's pumping. Must not be holding pressure then. Master cylinder. Alright, that looks tight. And up here, that looks tight. Just gonna pump it for a little bit. I see fluid coming out of here. I don't like that. See that? We're gonna spray that down with brake cleaner. I wanna see where that fluid is coming from. Let's see. So that's all dry now. So now we can kind of get a good picture of where it's leaking. See if it drips down anywhere. See, it's dripping from here. That's just brake cleaner. Not seeing any drips yet, but I can hear bubbles. Well, I've been trying to bleed the rear brake for the past hour, and I cannot get the master cylinder to pump back to the caliper. So I think we need a new master cylinder. This might have been a cheap one that the seller ordered off of Amazon or something, but it's not working. So we'll try a different one next video, see if that works, but the rest of the bike is perfect. No bogging, nothing. So either a spark plug, a carb clean, or a fuel change got rid of that bogging problem. One of those three things, because that's really all we did to the bike. But yeah, that was pretty lucky. I thought for sure it would be like a crank seal or a top end problem, but turned out to be very, very simple on this one. And that does not happen very often. Thought for sure the engine would be coming apart, but I'll take the win when I can get one. So thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for subscribing. Stay tuned for next video. And until next time, we are